Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another session with the older man. Today I'm dressed in red. I got on my red top. Red always signifies danger, and I specifically wore red today because I'm warning you gentlemen of an imminent danger that's coming forth. And today I'm talking to my UK subscribers. Yes, the second largest subscription base I have on this channel is out of the UK. And gentlemen, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this new law that's being proposed that is going to affect a lot of masculine men. Yes, gentlemen, hold on to your hats because this, my friends, is the next wave, the next weapon of feminism.
The UK government has announced plans to treat hatred of women as a form of extremism. A review of the UK's counter-extremism strategy has been ordered to determine how best to tackle this growing threat.
Wow! So that's what we're going to discuss today, my friends. It is a serious topic today. This one is no joke because what we're going to see, my friend, is the next wave of the feminist weapon. It's not going to look good for you ladies, I'm telling you. So with that said, my friends, give me a thumbs up on this message. Let's get into this one. Gentlemen, keep your ears glued to this one, my American friends, because usually when the liberal societies start to infiltrate, you will find that these policies will start to infiltrate into other parts of the world. Yeah. So my friends, give me a thumbs up on this message before we get started. Please show the algorithm that, hey, you have a very strong interest in this subject because this is a serious problem. And I'm going to explain why, and we're going to watch some other professional guests break it down for you. Now, about 2 months ago, I saw MTR channel, Mediocre Tutorial and Reviews. He was talking about his channel being mentioned as one of those channels that were pushing a misogynistic message.
Sections like that. But here's what I wanted to get into next, which is the male supremacy scale. A YouTube case study. Now, once you guys see the ridiculousness of how they're choosing to utilize the information on this scale, you will understand my passion. Together with the Polarization and Extremism Research Innovation Lab, acronym PARO, at American University, which I believe is in DC, we conducted a case study to investigate the viability of executing effective diversion campaigns. Yes, you read that correct. Effective diversion campaigns aimed at a range of male supremacist YouTube influencers who are prominent within the manosphere. So essentially, they're taking tax dollars and they're reinvesting that into running ad campaigns on my videos that after you watch one of my videos, you'll see one of their approved vendors. But what is the scale that they're using to determine how naughty that we are? Well, the scale was developed as a tool to understand, define, and quantify the phenomenon of contemporary male supremacy, specifically in the context of online platforms. The male supremacy scale is a 15-point scale to measure male supremacy broken into 3 subscales: anti-feminism, female dishonesty in relationships, and women like alphas, with 5 sub-bullets underneath each point. Now, they actually go through and describe each of these 3 buckets. I'll read the first one. Anti-feminism explores how the participant feels about feminism and feminists in general. So by nature of this study, they're essentially saying, if you do not agree with feminists or those within the feminist movement, you are bad. As if there's not destructive messages that are pushed because of feminist rhetoric and ideology.
He's not even a big channel. But of course, we had Andrew Tate at the top. We had Just Pearly Things. We had a lot of conservative channels on YouTube that were included in that group. And you kind of realize that a lot of these channels are slowly being stripped away. But we know that a lot of these messages weren't teaching hatred for women, but empowering men. Now, something else sort of caught my attention, me as a new channel. On July 5th, I saw a massive drop on my viewerships on YouTube. And I mean, literally, one day, the graph was up here, and the other day, boom, massive drop. And then the next day, another massive drop. And I'm going, what the hell happened? Holy crap. I just started to do YouTube full time. What the hell is happening? What's happening? I immediately just said, okay, July 4th, 4th of July, that's when a lot of people start to go on vacation. That's probably why the viewership's down. But then I examined a lot of perspectives and I realized that people actually start going on vacation in June. So that really wasn't a big issue. So I'm just concerned, why is it that my viewers drop so significant? And then I was listening to Legion of Men's, his channel. He was mentioning that his channel was being suppressed. And that was the first time I heard of the suppression of channels, right? I immediately start putting two and two together and realizing maybe that's what has happened. Now I can only speculate. I'm not going to get any answers from YouTube on this issue. But what I did was I just kept pushing because these two things cannot be true. You cannot be gaining a tremendous amount of subscribers while your viewership is dropping. That just does not make sense. If people are not liking my content, more than likely I will stop getting so many subscribers. Yes, the subscriber count, meaning the amount of people signing up to my channel had dropped, but people weren't leaving. My subscriber count keep going up, keep going up, keep going up. But at one time I was doing 10,000 new subscribers a month. Now it's down to 5,600 a month. So I just said, you know what? I'm not going on any vacation. I'm going to buckle down. My kids, my wife, everybody else went, did their thing. I stayed behind and I just pushed. I was determined to fight the algorithm. So now I'm starting to see a steady climb back up. Like yesterday, now we're at 101,000 subscribers. I gained 1,000 subscribers in less than 24 hours. And so I see my hard work paying off. I start to see the viewership going back up, but it's creeping versus if I was growing this far before July 5th, I would be a lot further ahead. So it is an obvious suppression that is occurring. I'm just telling you guys that this is what is happening. I am not a misogynist in no way, shape, or form. Happily married man, and all I do is educate men on how to get ahead in relationships. My message is tough love for both parties. Yes, I have to show where feminism is screwing up females' thought process. And I show the receipts on how that's happening. In every single video, I show you other women who are hurting because of what feminism is doing to their brain. And I show you women admitting that they make mistakes. And for that, my friends,
nobody's paying attention to the fact that there's currently a war on traditional family values in America and a war on men. The left, liberal women are like, let's snuff men out. Let's feminize men. Let's tell men they're not men. We can be men and we don't need you. And traditional family values, oh, here's the war against that. What is a family? A family can be whatever you want it to be. It's back to, we don't need men. That's why when you look at the culture on the left, you have more violence, you have more crime, you don't have men in the homes, you have lower rates of marriage. Those values are not important to them, and they are literally purposely seeping them and infusing them into America, into the American value system. All you gotta do is turn the TV on and you can see it. Trust me, it's a war on men and a war on family. By the way, this isn't a new war. This war started in the 70s. It's just that now we can see all the work that's been done. And unless we do something now, everything we know as far as family will be no more.
Your voice is being suppressed. Guys, get out there, keep your frame, get your money up, get your body up, and the woman will come. Don't take BS from women, because once you're a weak man, women will not see you attractive, or eventually they will take advantage of you. That is the basic tenet of every single one of these male channels, including mine. That's the same stuff my father taught me, and it has served me well. So, what I'm trying to show you, my friends, is the suppression of masculinity is now being seen as misogyny, because you cannot quantify how someone feels about another problem. But I don't want to go on too far. I want us to listen to this lady here, the psychologist, because these are the people who are pushing the policies, my friend. These are the kind of voices the governments are listening to.
Dr. Sarah Meagher from the University of Melbourne researches the relationship between misogynistic beliefs and violent extremism. And she joins us now. Dr. Meagher, thank you for your time. Now, you actually met with the UK's Home Office in June. What in particular did they want to ask about your research as they considered this move?
They were quite interested in exploring this link further and have been for a couple of years. We've been in consultations because of some high-profile events like the murder of Sarah Everard a few years ago in the UK, the recognition that a number of these violent extremist groups express quite hostile, misogynistic ideologies.
What extremist groups? So one woman died. I mean, if I'm missing something, you guys tell me. My brothers in the UK, you guys tell me if there's something I missed. Was this man in some sort of extremist group? Is this some sort of organization that were creating terror for women? I don't know. I could have missed it, but please enlighten me, guys, in the comment section if I missed something. I thought this was just some random guy who hated women, who expressed himself and freaking killed a woman. I'm not making light of it. I'm just basically pointing out that that could have been an isolated incident. Every other incident where men have attacked women, this has been going on since the beginning of time. And guess what? The same shit happens vice versa. Women attack men constantly. And that is growing even more and more. But do we have a misandry law? Have we made misandry, the hatred of men, a terrorist act? No. This is a one-sided proposal. It hasn't been into law yet. That is saying men should be penalized for hating women. Yeah, let's hear what else she has to say.
And so they were interested in how policy-wise, we might make better use of an understanding of what is this connection between misogynistic attitudes and support for violent extremism.
So what's your reaction to the UK's plans to treat misogyny or extreme misogyny as a form of extremism?
Generally, I'm in favour of, this move to try and better understand what the connection is. But I think perhaps isolating extreme misogyny as its own form of violent extremism, rather than understanding how it underpins and is causal of various forms of violent extremism, as our research finds, might be a bit problematic, because by segmenting it off as its own isolated form of ideology and maybe associated only with incel extremism, for example.
I hate how they use this word incel. Involuntarily celibate. Meaning, he's not volunteering to be celibate. He cannot get laid. Just because a man cannot get laid doesn't make him an extremist, doesn't make him violent. But this label is out there. They love to throw around this term, involuntarily celibate. Just because every woman who wants to get laid can get laid. Because all she got to do is put herself out there. So what happens? The guy gets frustrated because what is the most basic tenet behind any particular species on Earth? That is to reproduce. That's it. That is his purpose. Every single man wants to be able to work hard, produce enough income and resources in order for him to have a family, in order for him to pass on his own biological seed, his own genetic line to go on. That is innate in every single species, every single one. Other species, the males, the dominant males, fight each other to be able to reproduce. For some reason, in this particular species, meaning human beings, men are penalized for it, called incels. And then when he gets frustrated instead of saying, okay, let's tackle that problem, no, we're gonna just call him a bloody terrorist. That's where we're going, man. Anyway, I want to go to another discussion here on another channel.
To treat extreme misogyny like it does terrorism, with teachers and doctors and social services placed under a legally binding duty to report to the authorities those they suspect of having been radicalised. The front page of the Metro today call it the war on women haters. And in jargon that really only emanates from Whitehall, the Home Office is being asked to conduct a rapid analytical sprint to map and monitor emerging forms of extremism, including extremist misogyny that plays a big role in incel culture.
There we go again. That word is out there. It's thrown out there again. Incels. Listen, this is a political football. These politicians who have just gotten into power, they need something to grab onto to keep the people distracted. And these companies, they know that once they appease the women, make them happy. Let's look at the latest headline. What is it that occurred? This one guy killed this woman. We need to make that a thing now. Feminists moved in and said, yes, these men need to be suppressed. It's an ideology. I like how this gentleman here that they have on this channel, how he laid it down. Listen very careful, gentlemen.
Do you worry that your son or the teenage boys that you teach are becoming radicalized to hate or dismiss or denigrate the women and girls in their lives to such an extent that they may well become violent, or at least talk about violence towards women and girls? What is the difference between a kind of unpleasant male laddishness and someone who might genuinely be a threat to you? Jonathan Hall, KC, is the UK's independent reviewer of terrorism legislation. Thanks very much indeed for coming on the programme this morning, Mr. Hall. Is this the kind of thing terror laws were set up to police, do you think?
Well, I've seen the press release from the Home Office. They say that this is nothing to do with terrorism or prevent, so I'm going to take that at face value. What it is, though, is another example of trying to hunt for an ideology and then to try and cure it. I think that history tends to show, at least in the context of terrorism, that hunting for ideologies is never practically very successful. So I think that there's reason to be sceptical that hunting down ideologies that might lead people or promote violence against is going to be the solution. There's another thing which I think one needs to discuss. We saw this last year where the previous government was looking to try and label certain views extremist or certain individuals like extremist. We have to be aware that in the world there are lots of people who've got lots of different views. Mm-hmm. Some of those are views which we agree with, some of them we may not, and some of them we may find detestable. But generally speaking, society is better served with people having views, being able to discuss views, being able to think things in the privacy of their own heads and express them. And I'm slightly worried about a process where any authority or government gets to label one view an extremist or not. For example, someone will have a view of the role of women in society, the role of men in society. I won't necessarily agree with it. Mm-hmm. But to call that extremist is quite a big deal. And I was just thinking back to...
I think he used the word slightly concerned. Boss, you have to be very concerned because all we're hearing is the female side of life. You know how many women follow this channel and they're saying, I appreciate what you're doing. I love what you're doing because you're right. How many women we've featured here saying feminism has gone too far. Women have too much power.
This is what weak men do, particularly the ones raised by their mama. These mamas ruined an entire generation. You are literally looking at a generation of matriarchal squalor coming home to roost. When you have a bunch of women raising men without the input and the strong order and structure of a man's man, you get men like Ricky Smiley who want to emotionally bait you into saying, you know, we can't hold mama accountable. It doesn't matter what mama has done. It don't matter how many times she lied and said that was your daddy and that really ain't your daddy. She can't be held accountable for anything that she does. We just have to keep covering for her and celebrating her and elevating her to the highest level of praise and worship in the family, despite the fact that she was oppressive, abusive, mean, ornery, disrespectful, and didn't treat your daddy right, like all of those things. These are the men that are now trying to stand on a soapbox in a position of leadership.
What you're doing now is giving women even more power because now we're making laws to control men's thought process. An ideology is a process, a thinking process. Let me try to put it to you like this. The war on terrorism. Okay, what does that mean? Who are we fighting? We're fighting terrorism. Terrorists. Who are those terrorists? Anyone they deem to be a terrorist is a terrorist. So that doesn't matter whether they're coming from Iraq, from Syria, from Saudi Arabia. It doesn't matter. Everybody can be lumped under a terrorist. Now, if you said we're in a war against Iraq, okay, that is the country that we're fighting against. We're in a war against X country or Y country or this set of people. That is a different thing than saying we are at war against an ideology, terrorism. So now they want to fight how people think. So how do you police that? How do you classify that? A channel which tells men, listen, don't listen to women's BS. Be very careful about how women are thinking. Women will take advantage of you. Women will do X, Y, Z. Ah, that's a terrorist organization. He's talking against women. Shut that shit down. So what happens? Men grow up with one-sided view. Like I said yesterday in my previous video, what happens with a boy? He's born to a mother and a father. The mother divorces him early in life. The woman gets primary custody of that boy. So now, during his formidable years, his development years, his only influence is by that mother because the man has been pushed out of the house. That boy goes to kindergarten school. 80 to 90% of the teachers are females. So the boy is influenced by a woman again. He goes to high school. Same thing occurs. 80 to 90% of school teachers are women. He goes to hair salon with his mom. Yes, woman. He goes to the nail salon with mom. Woman. He gets babysat with a woman. Do you see where the problem is? Then the boy goes to college. He is told, listen, you do not talk to women, because if you talk to women and they accuse you of anything, you're screwed. Your whole career can crash. So men, stay away from women. Girls are complaining about that shit as we speak.
So am I like the only woman that no longer gets approached by men? No, because I had to actually sit and think about this, and I had to ask myself, when is the last time a man came up to me and wanted to get to know me or exchange numbers? And it's been a long time.
Well, I got news for you. It's going to be even longer because y'all are full of it. That's it. No YouTube talking points, no elaborate explanations, because at this point, y'all ain't listening.
Then he comes out. Then he's told, do not approach women in the workplace. Me too. Do not approach women on the street. Me too. Do not. So what happens to that man's brain? What do you think that's going to do to a man? Or a woman, for that respect. The women are complaining, men aren't approaching me. You did this. But what you're creating is a man who has grown up, who has a biological system that says, I need women, I should be with women, I should be getting with women, I should know how to talk to women, I should be the man, and women should appreciate me for being the man. But he was told by all of these women, oh, you got to be nice to women. You got to be good to women. Women don't want nice guys. We know this. They tell us that loud and clear. They take advantage of nice guys. So this poor man is being screwed over by every single woman that he comes in contact with, because he was told from the time he was a child, he got to be a nice guy. And now we're trying to throw in what? If you are mean to any woman, you will be labeled as a terrorist? That's how far we're pushing this agenda? That's how far we're going down the rabbit hole, my friends. So ladies, if you are complaining today about men going their own way, they're not talking to you, you can't find a man, men are going to other countries where the laws are much more conducive to the traditional way of men meeting women. So you're losing your men to more conservative countries, but yet you're passing laws to discredit men and to make them hate you even more. Think about that. Instead of the government focusing on, hey, what are the solutions we need? We need to bring men into the picture to discipline these men or these boys to understand, hey, there are boundaries when it comes to women. Hey, this is how you build yourself. This is how you build your mind so that women will see you more favorably, so that you will have more success with passing on your genetic seed, fulfilling your life purpose. Give men purpose, and they will not be out on the street trying to destroy you. It's a simple remedy. But no, I'm going to just basically say, yeah, let's control these bastards a little bit more. We need more laws to control how men think now. So women are going to get more weapons to control men. It's as simple as that. Because all these women have to do is to report a man or a boy for having thoughts that's not conducive to the way she wanted it to be. Now he's a terrorist. You make that shit make sense. My friend, you guys in the UK, you have to shut this down quickly. You better be calling your congressman. You ladies better understand that this is the problem that you're going to have. You think that you're going to have control over men. All you're doing is losing your men. Men are saying, no, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. You ain't worth the headache. I leave you alone. I'm not interested in talking to you. Don't want to be labeled. I want to get out. I can go somewhere else. I can go to Philippines, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Cambodia. I can go anywhere else where they don't treat me like a second-class citizen and find a wife to fulfill my purpose. That is what's going to happen. You complaining now? Trust me, my friends, it's going to get worse. Okay, my friends, listen. Go over to these two channels. Check out the rest of this video because it is a compelling story. It is a serious turning point in the world of men. So you guys better take heed. You cannot sit down and watch this happen. And I'm not just talking to the men. I'm talking to the women because I see this becoming a serious problem as I can see the thumb on my finger right here. I've seen too many stupid policies being passed that affect people negatively, and this is one of them. So, my friends, thank you so much for listening. You know what I always ask. Please subscribe, and more importantly, give me a thumbs up on this message. Please go over to askanolderman.com, book a session with me if you'd like to. And listen, I'm open to also host you guys on my show. If you want to do a remote podcast with me, by all means, I'm open to that as well. All right? So until next time, my friend, whenever in doubt, always ask an older man. I'll see you soon. Cheers.